Good morning everyone and welcome here. Today I want to talk about literature and specifically about a poem by Langston Hughes, Mother to Son. Well, son, I'll tell you, life for me ain't being no crystal stair. It's had tacks in it and splinters and boards torn up and places with no carpet on the floor. Bare, but all the time I has been a climbing on and reaching landings and turning corners and sometimes going in the dark where there ain't been no light. So boy, don't you turn back, don't you sit down on the steps, 'cause you find it kinda hard. Don't you fall now, for I still going, honey, I still climbing, and life for me ain't been no crystal stair. Well, before starting with our critical analysis, let's understand some important keywords that maybe you don't know the meaning of. First of all, tacks. A tack is a small pointed nail with a flat top used for example to hang up paintings or things like that. Then another important word is bare, that has the same meaning of empty, that is a word that you certainly know. And what else? Yeah, splinters, boards. A splinter is a small sharp piece of a material such as a wood or glass that has broken off. And board is used in this poem to understand the concept of a stair with disconnected steps. Another important thing that I want to clarify is the use of the contraction, and I mean this one, and yeah, here. It is used to say I am or I have, and you can understand it from the context. So, we are ready to start. Langston Hughes wrote Mother to Son when he was 21. He structures the poem as a conversation between a mother and their son. It is a poem with no rhyme or rules, so it is free verse, as we can see from the text. It is interesting to look at the text and notice that it's quite short and it's made by 20 lines, even composed by a single word, as the seventh one, of course this one. The first line is quite different from the others, and to be honest, I think that it's unique. In fact, it introduces all the poem, and not just because of the position. Well, son, I'll tell you, it is like saying to the reader, I am going to talk now. Pay attention. It is not an expected beginning like Once Upon a Time or things like that. The poet had an amazing brainwave with that incipit. Going on with our analysis, we can observe that the addressee of that composition is not just a son, but a son who might be having a tough time. In fact, that situation is suggested from line 15 to 17. That one. Where the mother encourages her son to keep going on despite difficulties. Changing the perspective, the speaker is, as the son, not just a mother, but a mother who is a survivor, and of course, the first part of the poet confirms this. For example, life for me ain't been no crystal stair, means that the life of the mother was not so easy, but also it has stuck in it and the following lines. Just a moment. Is Langston Hughes a mother? Of course not. So, look at this magic. Poetry gives you the possibility of express yourself through the perspective of whoever you want. Considering the content of the poem, it seems easy to say that it talks about the stairway of life and its hardships. Another essential element of the poem that comes out here is the presence of an important figure of speech that typifies it. The metaphor. I'll show you where, even if it's easy to understand where it is. Life for me and be no crystal star. And also life for me and be no crystal star. In fact, through the words of the mother, Life is assimilated to a staircase. There's also another important figure of speech, that is the anaphora, specifically in the second and in the last line, because in there's a repetition of an entire line, this one and this one, but also from the 4th to the 6th and from the 10th to the 13th. I mean here, 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 and here. Reach this point, it's important to say something about the author's life to understand completely the meaning of the poem and the choices he made. Langston Hughes was an African-American poet who spent his career serving as a merchant seaman and working in a Paris nightclub, where he showed some of his poems to Dr. Alan Locke, a strong supporter of African-American literature. He became an important force in the Harlem Renaissance, that was a time where African-American culture of art, music and dance was redefined. In fact, he was an activist who fought for African Americans' rights. Accordingly to this, and coming back to the text, the anonymous mother in the poem may be suggestive of the African American women of pre-Depression America, encouraging their sons to strive for success. The poem is written in the form of a dramatic monologue, with an idiomatic style invoked in the context of the courage. The main theme of the poem is perseverance, and honestly speaking, I think that Langston Hughes did a wonderful job. The poem is a great messenger of the values said. To conclude, we have to ask ourselves the last question. What purpose does the poem serve? Well, we are probably unable to give the right answer to that question, but we can try to. In my personal opinion, the purpose of that composition is to make people understand that there will be situations in life in which we will feel sad or demoralized. Do not worry, the poem says. Everyone has to face hard times, because life is not a crystal stair. But if we have the perseverance of going on, we will reach the best goal, our happiness. Thank you for your attention.